All right, I got a little bit of a mess behind me right here, but it's not a big mess. It is the makings of a greenhouse. The cover's inside because it's incredibly windy today. But I'm gonna go ahead and try to get the frame put together. It just came in the mail off of Amazon, a 200 square foot greenhouse for under $250. So I'm gonna put it all together. We're gonna give it a little bit. We're gonna give you a review, see how you think it is. I'm gonna have to do some reinforcing to it because just right out of the box, I can tell these poles look pretty sturdy. But you know, you put a cover on it, it's a big balloon basically. So I'm gonna have to do some additional reinforcing. And the stakes they give you with this are like that long. They're not gonna do the job. So we're gonna do some additional work to reinforce it. But other than that, it looks like a pretty good deal. $250 for a 20 by 10 by 7 greenhouse. So I'm not gonna necessarily film the whole process of putting it together. But I will show you kind of and I'll put a link down below which greenhouse I got. It's a Quick Tent, not spelled correctly, Quick Tent. I mean, I guess spelled correctly for the name of the company, but not spelled correctly for quick. And it's definitely from China because you can see some of the language on the instructions. I mean, it's easy enough to understand, but it's not necessarily proper English. But that's okay, I don't mind. You don't really get real detailed instructions. You pretty much get a picture that shows you, kind of where all the stuff goes. This is all the stuff that's included. They give you a couple of pairs of gloves, some rope, which is very thin rope. I'm not sure how useful that's going to be. These cheap stakes that aren't any good really. Screws, the tools to put it together, all the poles, and then they give you a diagram right here of how it goes. There are some instructions on the back, but they basically just say first put the poles together, then put these poles in. It's not real detailed, but that's okay. We can figure it out. So the nice thing is they do number all the poles, so you don't have to guess which one's which. And you can see by the diagram, I need 5 and 4 and 2 and 3 and 3 and 3. I need to get the base kind of put together. And then the side posts. Number 8 goes down one side, number 7 goes down the other. So that's what I'm gonna work on first, is finding 5 and 4 and 2 and 3 and 3 and 3 and get all that stuff done. We're gonna set it down at the other end of the garden there. And anyway, I guess I'll just get going on it. All right, hopefully the wind's not too bad. You guys can hear me. There's not too much wind noise. Apologize if there is. Did get the base kind of set up really. I'm still gonna go around and tighten some things up and sturdy it up a little bit, but that's not too bad. Took me a little longer than it should have because I didn't look at the pictures the right way and I put the poles on the wrong side first. I had to go back and take them off and put them on the outside, but I'm still only looking at about 20-30 minutes of work so far, and it's coming together. Next I'm gonna put the side poles on, and then we'll work on the top of it. I'll give you some updates. I'm not going to film all of it because I'm having my wife help me, and she doesn't really want to be on camera. So my wife and I are putting this together, so you're just going to have to get updates as we go instead of filming it all. But I don't know that filming it all is really going to be that interesting anyway. So let me get to work on it. Let me get the rest of it put together, and we'll come back when we got a little bit more further progress made. Well, it's up. The frame is up, completely up. So I didn't really bring you along for updates along the way because there really wasn't that much excitement to it. It's a little bit tricky. It's a lot easier with 2 people, one to hold the poles while you push the screw through and screw it all together, but then go through and tighten all the screws up. I went through and put some rebar stakes, about, I don't know, 17-inch, 18-inch rebar stakes, bent over hook shaped at each one of the posts and the corners, and then one right here in the front and one right there in the back. I may put more down there, I'm not sure. It's fairly sturdy, but there's still, it's not going to come out of the ground, but there's still a little bit of wobble to it. So I'm going to work on sturdying that up a little bit. It's a little too windy, I think, to put the cover on today, unless the wind dies down in the next hour or two. I'd like to get it on because we got some storms coming. I'd like to see how well it's going to hold up in the wind and in the storms. There is a warranty on this. I want to say I think it's a 6-month warranty on the cover itself, a 1-year warranty on the poles, and then all the accessories and stuff is like lifetime warranty, which I don't know, there's, I guess, little plastic things that go over the nuts. Those are the accessories, I guess. I don't know, the stakes maybe are the accessories. I don't know what the accessories are, but there's lifetime on that. And then there's also lifetime 50% off of replacement parts. So if the cover does tear up, you can contact the company and get a new cover and get it replaced for 50% off. I don't know what that cost would be, but even if it's 50% off the $250 I spent for the whole thing, That's not bad. That's pretty good. That's one of the reasons I went with this greenhouse over some of the others, because there are a lot of them that are very, very similar, same basic size, roughly the same price point, some of them about $50 cheaper. But I went with this one because it did get pretty good customer service reviews. People said that they contacted the company, they set it up, and it fell apart, you know, blew away, got whatever happened, and they contacted the company and got a replacement sent to them, just stood behind their product and good customer service. So I figured that was worth an extra $50. Not only that, but this has a ridge pole. Not all of them have like this pole right here that runs down the middle. And that was kind of important to me to keep water from pooling up on the top of the greenhouse. And I may still, you know, it doesn't have, I don't know, when I get the cover on, we'll see if it sags any at all. I'll put some like PVC or something down the sides to keep it out so the water runs off, because that is one of the big things that happens with these cheap greenhouses is they start to collect water on top and it starts to sag and pull it down and it just tears the whole thing up. The other thing, of course, is wind damage. So what I plan on doing is when I get the top on, the cover on anyway, I'm gonna go around and drive some stakes down, probably about where the upright posts are, and then run some rope over the top. So I've got crisscrossed rope in between, and that'll tie the tarp, the cover down to the greenhouse, to the frame itself, keep it from catching air and blowing up like a big balloon. And then I'll probably stake out the flaps on the edge too. They'd say to bury them, stake them out, or weight them down. Not sure how that's going to work yet, but I'll make sure that I'm not done with this video. We're gonna get the cover on before I post this video. You're gonna see how it looks with the cover on, and so I'll let you know what I figure out, of course, how I'm gonna do that. But anyway, I think that's probably about it for today. It's a little windy. I do have it, like I said, staked out pretty good. It's pretty sturdy. It's not, yeah, it's not coming out of the ground. It's in there. So. I didn't use the stakes that they provided. I used some rebar stakes that I made. Just took them over to just a piece of rebar, took it over to I got these bricks over here with holes in them, stuck it in the hole and bent it over to make a hook, basically. And then just, like I said, put it all at all the posts and all that kind of stuff. So it's pretty nice. I mean, this is going to cover 200 square feet, and you can see it's, well, you probably can't see because you can't see the whole garden, but it's not quite half my garden, but it does cover 2 full rows. So like this is a row right here that I'm in, this is a row right here, and it covers 2 full rows just at the edge of the row. So I get the full row and 20 feet long. So I can start, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 tomato plants in here that I already have holes in the ground growing, ready to go. My cucumbers over there, they can be started. I've got a big area right here that I haven't even done anything with yet. I could put peppers, whatever I wanted right there. So it's going to allow me to get a jump start. Now my plan is not to leave this cover on all year long. This is going to be, you know, I'm afraid if I leave this cover on all year long, it's just going to be destroyed in no time. The sun's going to bake it. It's going to fall apart. It's not going to last very long at all. But if I just use it, you know, the last couple of months of winter into spring to get me up to give me a little bit late, you know, extend my season a little bit in the fall, winter, and get an early start on the spring season up until about May, then I should be able to get this thing to last several years. And for $250 for 200 square feet, you can't beat that. I'll probably go ahead and leave the frame up all year long, but the cover itself is going to come off once we warm up going into spring. So probably somewhere, you know, around mid-May, somewhere right around in there. So it's just a couple of months, and then we'll put it back on next year. I can already tell. You know, they put these little plastic things that you stick in the ends of the pipes. I think I'm gonna have to come back with some tape and tape those on. I don't think they're gonna stay in there, but all in all, I'm pretty happy with this. These poles are pretty sturdy. All in all, can't complain. I think it's gonna do pretty good. We'll see as I get the cover on and get a little bit more footage shot. All right, we'll talk to you soon. All right, here we go. It's all up. It's all set up. I got the cover on it today. Yesterday was just a little bit too windy to get the cover on. It was just, we had some pretty good wind gusts yesterday. I wish I could have it. I wish I'd have had it up to see how it holds up in the wind, but at the same time, you know, trying to put a cover on when it's blowing like 30, 40 mile an hour winds, it's tricky. It would be tricky to say the least. But anyway, so I did a little bit of reinforcing to this. I got the cover on it. I did strap some ropes over the top, some paracord. I think I should have done it just a little bit differently, and I'll show you what I mean here in just a few minutes. But there's a few places where it kind of bunches up a little bit on here. I don't think it's going to be bad. As long as it doesn't collect water, it'll be fine. It did make it a lot sturdier. I mean, this is pretty sturdy now, so that helped out a lot. I went around the edges. I'll take you outside and show you kind of what I did around the edges here in just a second. But the only thing, like I said, is I think I put these ropes on in the wrong place, because I do have a few places. Bring the camera over here and I'll show you kind of what I mean. It's kind of causing it to bunch up just a little bit. I don't think it's going to be enough to collect water, but it may be, and if it is, I'll have to redo it, of course. But let me take you and show you. All right, so we're at the back of the greenhouse here, and you might be able to see right here. You can see how it kind of bunches up right there. I don't think it's going to collect water, but like over here, it's just not super tight, and that's because I got these ropes put in tension. You can see them probably going right along the outside, putting tension down on this. And I think if I had to put them to where they run over the top of these instead of, whoops, let me back up, on top of this, instead of in the middle where they go over the top right here where there is no upper pole right there, I think that would have been better. So I may have to move those, but let me take you outside and we'll show you. All right, so standing outside here, you can kind of see, let me zip this up because I'm not going back in. But what I did on the sides here, I took some cardboard, folded it over, laid it over the flaps, and then weighted it down, a couple of cinder blocks in the front. We got some logs down the side here, some rocks down the other side. Tried to just sandwich that cardboard over so it's got a, the bend in the cardboard. It keeps the flap of the greenhouse sandwiched in, so it's not going to catch wind and blow up like that. So that should help keep, so far it haven't noticed it pulling up at all. They did send stakes, little ground cover staples with it, but I didn't really want to put a bunch of holes in the cover, stapling it down, and I'm not sure how well those would hold up anyway, so I just weighted it down anyway. Ideally, if I had, some feed sacks that wouldn't just fall apart in the rain or something like that, fill them up with some, dirt, sand, whatever, just to weigh them down, and you could lay those on the top of there as well. But it's just to keep the outside cover. There's only 4 or 5 inches, about 5 inches or so of cover that overlaps onto the ground. So ideally, in a normal greenhouse, you'd bury that in the ground and you wouldn't have to worry about the wind catching it and pulling it up. But there's not enough. And not only that, but I got all this ground cover down in the garden. I don't want to go pulling it up and digging holes in there and trying to bury it all. It's just not enough to even mess with. It just pull right out of the ground. So instead, I just opted with folding the cardboard over, and so the fold side's on the outside, the greenhouse cover is on the inside of that cardboard sandwiched down with weight on top of it, and I think that's going to be enough to hold it down. Let me take you down the side here. We'll show you the ropes. All right, so you can probably see what I did is I tied these ropes down to, I put stakes in right where the upright poles go, every one of them, and then crisscrossed that rope, just over the top of the greenhouse, just crisscrossed. And I think if I had to put those halfway between the poles instead of right on the upright poles, then the ropes would have crossed over the top of those uprights, and it would have been a little bit better as opposed to the way it is right now where they're crossing in between. And you can kind of see, maybe you can see where it's kind of where the ropes go in, they're sucking the greenhouse in a little bit on the sides there. And I don't think it's enough to collect water, but that would be my concern. If it does collect water, I'm going to have to redo that, of course, because I don't want it. I mean, that's going to be what ruins this thing, is if it starts collecting water on the top and pulling that top in and sagging it, it's going to pull it up from the ground. It's going to cause all kinds of problems. So there we go. 20 foot by 10 foot greenhouse for $250. Can't beat it. I think it's a pretty good deal. I think it's going to hold up pretty well. I mean, time's going to tell how well it holds up to the weather. But again, I'm not leaving it up all year long. This is only going to be, through probably May, another couple of months, and then the cover is going to come off and be stored away, and then it'll come back out, late, in December, November, something like that. Probably November. Come back out then and go back up. But it's just to get me through, extend my season in the fall, give me a little bit earlier start in the spring. So probably in the next week, maybe 2 weeks at the most, I'm going to be planting, starting my seeds in here, and my tomato seeds, I'm going to start them directly in the ground, probably my cucumbers, maybe some peppers. I'm not sure exactly what all I'm going to get going, but see if I can get them started up in the ground and not have to worry about transplanting them out. You know, I've done that before with the little milk jug greenhouses. You guys may have seen the video on that. I posted that several years ago. Last year it didn't work so well, but the year before that it worked great. I had these little milk jug greenhouses, stapled them down to the ground, cut a hole in the bottom of them, put my tomato seeds right in the bottom of them, and they sprouted up and grew, and I had great tomatoes, and they got started. I didn't have to worry about starting anything in the house. They started about the same time. It got a jump start on the harvest, and it was way easier than starting seeds inside, putting them under lights, transplanting them out, hardening them off, all those kinds of things. And I can already tell, I mean, this is a cloudy, gloomy day. I don't know if you can see that or not, but it's at least 7, maybe 10 degrees warmer inside that greenhouse than it is out here. Now, part of that's the wind chill, but I think, you know, because it's not a huge amount of wind today, but I think probably it is at least, like I said, 10 degrees warmer inside that greenhouse than it is out here, and we're probably in the 40s right now. So pretty optimistic about it. It does have doors on both sides, so I can open up for ventilation. Windows all along the side, I can open those up if I want to. We got a little bit of a breeze blowing right now. Not bad. I mean, you might be able to see things kind of, the latches to hold the door open, you know, those are all flapping around a little bit in the breeze, but the greenhouse itself is not moving at all. So I think I got it pretty well sturdied up. We're going to see how it works in the long run. So anyway, just wanted to share that with you guys. If you're looking for a cheap greenhouse, you got 200 square feet of growing space here, 10 by 20, 7 foot tall, pretty nice for 250 bucks, and the warranty that comes with it, you can't beat it. I think it's a really good deal. Thank you guys so much for watching, and as always, God bless.